Hello and welcome to the Southbound Sports Show. I'm your host, Richie Leahy, here with my co-host, Matty B. And we're officially into the off season. I know I've been crunching some numbers, and based on our most downloads, it seems like people liked the shorter shows that we did last year. So I think we're going to keep that going and see if we still get a good bit of download response. Because I know it's hard for us to keep blabbing whenever there's no football games to analyze, right? But we're into the off season. The NFL is annoyed right now with some of their television partners. I think mainly NBC is where they're focused. And I've been keeping an eye on this because I know it directly relates to the Big Ten and their contract. But the NBA received like billions of dollars from NBC. And it's almost crazy to me because the NBA hasn't been getting the TV ratings that they used to get. It's been downhill since the 90s. And yet their television contracts keep getting bigger and bigger. And I hear people compare it to Major League Baseball, right? When Major League Baseball, the difference is their TV deal isn't going out of control. Like, that's the difference. And MLB, they're kind of been on like a downside where everything's regional. How many different regional Major League Baseball networks have we talked about that have gone out of business? I think the latest was like, didn't Bally Sports? Wasn't that like a random one that like the Tigers were on? And like some other teams, and Pittsburgh Pirates used to be on Root Sports, then they were on AT&T. Now don't even know what they're on, right? Are they still on AT&T? Or are they on that like weird Ohio, West Virginia network? But
yeah, I think it's that.
So the NBA, people aren't watching either. And so you can't compare the two and say, hey, at least the numbers aren't as bad as like the NHL or Major League Baseball. But the thing with the NHL, their player salaries are kind of consistent with their TV contract. Like, their players don't make as much money. For the NBA, they kind of prop them up and they pay them, and then they make them do like these NBA related commercials, kind of like where NIL's going, I feel, where you can have different teams get sponsored by a company. LSU, I think, is the most recent one. Did you see that? They have the patch now.
Yes.
So they're bringing in the patch for people that don't know. And the patch is kind of like their official sponsor. It's like the soccer leagues that have, like, I don't even know which team I'm looking at, but the jerseys are like airlines on it. Right? And so as a foreigner myself, like, I don't know what's going on in the European soccer leagues, but if I see a team jersey and the most prominent thing on that jersey is an airline, I'm not buying it. Right? Like, if LSU, now their patch is kind of small, that's how it starts. Like, if the Tiger, I think they have the Tiger on there somewhere, right? Maybe not. Like, if they get rid of the overall feel and it's just like a giant logo across the chest, I wouldn't buy a jersey ever. And I wouldn't even, like, people that are doing that would just kind of be, I think that would be crazy to me, where it's just on a whole different level of sponsorships. But that's where the NFL is coming in and they're getting annoyed, because I watched Michigan basketball, ranked number 1 right now, took down Purdue, number 7, top 10 matchup. And one of the common threads that people were commenting on during the game is NBC is having a trouble time getting sponsors or advertisers for these Peacock games. So they've paid a ton of money, not only for the Big Ten, but the Big Ten seems to be, in comparison, a great deal for NBC. Because now they have another football that have the last 3 national champs. They have football programs that they can put on with Notre Dame. You're not stuck watching Notre Dame and Marshall and the ratings are low in the fall. But you have a top 10 matchup and you can't get commercials. So you get the dreaded ESPN Peacock loading screen where it says like your event will be back soon, and it's just like the black screen. It's 2026, man. That's embarrassing. You can't have anybody. You can't even have a commercial ready to go for like the Olympics that are on right now. I don't know. It's just infuriating to me that as like the Big Ten, like you're throwing all this money at the Big Ten. You know people are watching. The game's trending everywhere. And you don't have any commercials ready to go. Like you're not filling it with anything. And so that's just lost money. And on the other hand, the NBA, they're paying so much out of pocket. And if you can't even get advertising for any Peacock games on the NBA, that's what you paid billions of dollars for? What are you doing? Like they're said to be losing over $100 million on this Peacock right now because of these horrible deals where they paid for the sports. They're not consistent on which games are going to be on Peacock only. And even with the Olympics doing a great numbers, right? I was surprised. I thought I was going to come into the show and say like, oh man, the Olympics are doing awful. Because I've had a tough time following because you have to have 15 different networks again. Right? I want to watch hockey. Oh, it's on USA. I don't have that. It goes back to like, oh, I have to pay for like you can watch it on Peacock, but you have to pay for their Peacock right now. So like what's my incentive to do it? To watch it for one game? I just don't understand. So we'll see. The NFL is twisting the screw though. They do not like that their Sunday Night Football is on NBC. That's like their highest broadcast yearly. That they're getting paid less than what the NBA is getting for what? No commercials? Because no one's watching them? Because it goes together, dude. If people were watching, they could easily get advertisers. They don't have anyone watching. And so like now we'll see NBA has been going on. Like the Big Ten basketball just started. I don't know how many games they got that are like top tier because Michigan's been on what? Fox I talked about a couple weeks ago. That was the Michigan State game, I think, on a Friday. It had killer ratings. And then I think Michigan was on CBS a bit because they're still split between the three. So Peacock might get randomly one of the top basketball games. This Michigan-Purdue game might have been their best game of the year. It has to be hard to sell whenever you don't know what games you're getting. But the NBA, if you own the entire streaming catalog, how are you not getting ads? I don't get it. I hope the NBA crushes, or the NFL crushes them. Because it's kind of ridiculous that the NFL can be that popular. And the NBC's like, remember, they're making them put games on Peacock streaming for some of those games. And so if the NFL is getting paid less and NBC is kind of forcing their hand, I hope the NFL just kills it and says, no, you got to put us on NBC like regular. So maybe this will end up being good for football fans going forward. Because I've told you, peak off-season stuff, you got to get an antenna. Anyone can get like an over-the-air antenna. They have ones I've tried before you, like a couple years ago. Well, I guess I'm talking a decade now. But like years and years ago, they didn't have ones that were like good indoors. But now they have ones that are kind of like reinforced with the aluminum or whatever they have in there, the metal that helps the connection. And I can actually run it right in the middle of my house. I have my TVs like wall mounted and I can just drop it. It's kind of like a rectangle, but it has like a base that it will go like slide right down behind the wall mount and just hang there. It's like I just set it in there. And then based on like, because it has like the thing, I can turn it. I think it turns a little bit, whichever one I have. And it's not even an expensive one. It's probably like $30 on Amazon or Walmart, wherever I got it. But you can rotate it then to get whatever like your best channels are. I know most of mine come from the same direction. The only one that's a little bit off, I think, is ABC. So like I might have to twist it a bit if I'm watching college football, but that's it. So I'm telling you, if you're stuck with cable or streaming and you're kind of frustrated. Now, it doesn't help when like the game tonight could have easily been on NBC, because why are you paying the Big Ten big bucks and then not putting a top 10 matchup on primetime? But I guess they probably have the Olympics on.
Yeah, I would say Olympics are going to take front seat.
I don't even know why the Olympics are still like tape delayed. That, to me, that's the most frustrating thing. NBC, you're doing killer ratings. Hockey's on like at 3 p.m. or whatever. Why are you making me watch it on USA and then doing like a replay later? It makes no sense. One was like a condensed game, and it was confusing because it's like, wait a second, this is a replay, right? There's no way they're scoring this fast of like, you know how they do the 15-minute cut? Like that randomly played the one night that I just had it on. And so I just think it's so hard to follow with social media where I see someone lose, they're trending because they're crying, or they're like telling their girlfriend that they're sorry that they cheated on them on national TV. And it's like, what are you doing, dude? Then you turn it on at night and then you watch them lose again. It's like, it has to be double pain for people that cheer for them. I don't get it. I like the world. Yeah, people are working, but just do the night like a sports center, right? I don't know why NBC has this ratings gold and they're like, you know what? Nah, we know people aren't watching on Peacock. We can't even get commercials for it, but we're just going to hide it behind there. We're going to spend all this money putting it on Peacock. No one's watching it there. I think the latest deal that I saw, because I mean, it's not even a money thing. I just don't want to have another streaming thing. I think they were offering $2 a month, dude. I don't know if you saw that deal. It's like I could have easily picked it up for the game, but like they're just streaming on YouTube now. I'll probably get them taken down. But like that's where a lot of games are just popping up on there, and I'm wondering if the networks are just streaming them themselves, because otherwise, why would like YouTube not take them down? Because you know the networks would get money from YouTube, and there's no reason why they couldn't just create a fake YouTube account and then just stream their own stuff, because it's almost like flawless broadcast on there. So I'm wondering if that's going to be the next iteration where we see all these things get like live YouTube views, or like, I mean, I don't know how much Netflix could pay just to keep getting into like the live sports arena. Because if Netflix got rid of the other cable channels that you don't want and they just had live sports, I think that would be the best. That's the disconnect to me. People don't realize that a lot, or these networks don't realize, they probably do, but like people want to pay just for the sports and watch that. They don't want to pay and watch HGTV or whatever, right? And like all these other channels, A&E and things that like they're never going to watch, but you have to pay for because it's all bundled together. And right now, the only streaming thing outside of it is you can get ESPN right now that is semi good for SEC football and the NBA or whatever. But like now NBC owns some games, and they used to have NBA TV, which you could get, and it would have all the games, right? I don't think that exists anymore. So you're stuck. You're in the Big Ten country where you have to pay for 3 different streaming things. Where if Netflix would just strike up a deal with the Big Ten and say, look, fellas, you can have all your games on regular TV or regular over the air for Fox, NBC, CBS, but we want to own the Big Ten network. Perfect. Let's do it. Or like if the NFL put their NFL TV games there, whatever ones are over the air, you can't watch because it'd be blacked out or whatever, because you know they're not going to get rid of blackouts. And then everything else that you could just watch on Netflix, I think they would make a killing. So maybe this NBC deal would put them over the edge. I'm not even saying Netflix would have to be the partner. I'm just giving an example, because they don't have an like over the air channel that you can just watch for free. So everything would just be on there, I would think. I think they do that did they do that with UFC now? I don't even know.
I think it's part of the streaming package now.
Yeah, you just get to watch them because that's where they have some of the boxing stuff on there. And even like wrestling. Isn't wrestling on there?
I believe so.
Or at least WWE, if that's what they're still called. Not like the other one. What's AEW? Is that their competitor?
I think it's like their minor league.
Oh, is it? I don't even know. I thought there was like the other like competitor. Like, I don't even know what they used to be back in the day. But I thought they used to have like two different wrestling brands that competed. But who knows? I'm more of a football guy.
Maybe it is because of monopoly status.
Yeah, because they really don't need a minor league, right? Do they? I'm sure they could just buy the wrestlers. I think that's what happened in like the 90s. Because like you also have the ones where the guys are like hitting themselves with like chairs. I don't know if you saw that. Like some like backyard wrestling hero, he like died last week. And in his obituary, dude, his head was like split down the forehead from taking so many hits with like nails on a board. And I thought, buddy, you better have been a millionaire to be doing that on whatever YouTube or whatever you're doing that on, to be taking that, to make a permanent scar that people remember you. I mean, I saw it was trending for a bit. Like, rest in peace, some guy. And I thought, like, that obituary, it was almost like a Wesley Willis. He had that thing from, like, headbutting too much. It was like that. Except it almost looked like a butt crack, dude. Right down the forehead. Unbelievable. Wow. Unbelievable. I would never... If someone in the family came up and was like, hey, I've been doing this wrestling. And it's like, that's what happened to your face? I'd say, son... That's how we talk. Do anything else, buddy. It's just unbelievable. But I guess that's what happens when people when they have their little bit of fame, I guess, or they just really love wrestling. That could be you. Starting your own online wrestling in the neighborhood, have people come over. But let's see what else. Oh, NFL related. Tyreek Hill got caught. The Dolphins are doing like this clearinghouse thing where they're trying to get rid of most of their guys. And I think it's well deserved, but it also makes me wonder, like, is that going to be a good move? Or like Pittsburgh isn't doing that. So is that like, am I going to wish that Pittsburgh did? Are going to keep going through these odd mid-range, like whatever seasons where it's like 6 and 10 or whatever. I can't even think of the numbers now because I keep adding games. But I hope that's not the case, because some teams seem like they restart all the time, where the Seahawks kind of like slowly dipped, but they're able to come up and peak. Steelers never peak. Not anymore. It's like you're just riding a bike and you're just going over like these little hills. Meanwhile, the guy next to you's like doing like a backflip. You're like, man, if only I did that. But let's play it safe. That's kind of what the Steelers are doing. Let's play it safe. He could wipe out, right? But he'd probably get back up and then get back on the hills. That's my analogy, if that makes sense. Got to not be afraid. They went with the old safe Aaron Rodgers and it didn't work out. And now, did Aaron Rodgers even find a team yet? I don't think so. Or he didn't decide if he was coming back. I heard he was in talks to possibly return with a different team.
Yeah, he's going to finish his Brett Favre cycle and go to Minnesota.
Would that be crazy if he did?
There has to be a Brett Favre arc that he needs to finish.
Well, I told you, I've been hearing that they're ready to move on from my man JJ, because both the coach thinks JJ's making him look bad, and JJ thinks the coach is not putting him in a position to succeed, which could be, right? Their line looked awful this year, and Sam Darnold didn't have trouble getting out of there. right? It's not like he lit the world up in that Super Bowl. I wonder if that would happen. Bring in Aaron Rodgers for a year. I'm going to say Brett Favre because of you. Bring him in, go wild, and see what happens, right? I don't know. But any other moves you've been keeping an eye on that you think are going to happen this offseason?
Nothing's really standing out. I mean, I did see, was it Lamar Jackson possibly looking at getting traded? Like he's requesting to be traded.
Well, yeah, they get a whole new coach in. That would only make sense. I don't know what Minter's going to run, right? He was part of that Harbaugh group where you didn't really run the QB. What did Stronmore say? He wants to be more than friends. Oh, I'm just kidding. He said something like, if you want to be...
I don't know where you're going with that.
That's my Valentine's Day joke that I saw floating around out there. No, he said that if you have one running quarterback, you better have two, right? Because they're afraid the first one's going to get hurt. That was the Michigan motto for like the past 4 years. That's why they didn't run JJ. So McDonald, he wasn't running Sam Darnold, right? So if Minter saw that and was like, you know what, he just won the Super Bowl using the same stuff we came up with at Michigan, then yeah, I'm going to get rid of Lamar, right? Lamar's been banged up. All he can do is run. We saw what happened this year when he was banged up and couldn't run. That was painful. And if you're the coach and you know that it works, right? Michigan was a national championship. McDonald with the Seahawks just won a Super Bowl with Sam Darnold not running the ball. You have to think that that could be a path you go. You have a defensive-minded coach. All you want is a quarterback that's not running and getting hurt and ruining your offense, and B, turning the ball over. So I don't know which direction they would go. It would definitely be the end of an era, but they had to expect that moving on from John Harbaugh. I think that's why some teams keep the coach kind of like the Belichick Brady, where you keep them almost as long as you can, but then they ended up having to clean house, and now they had their run with May now. Is that going to be enough? I don't know. Because they were calling for him to be gone. Like, I think a lot of teams would look for Lamar to come in and make that jump, I think. It'd be crazy if he went to Pittsburgh, though.
There's no way.
Why not?
Well, and the other one, the one that I thought was more surprising was Jordan Love going the Aaron Rodgers hate route, where they were going to franchise tag Malik Willis to keep him in Green Bay, and he said, "Yeah, I want out too." I think you're seeing more of the trickle down effect of quarterbacks want that exclusive deal.
Well, yeah, I mean that's you're getting into the situation where if Jordan Love doesn't really work out, you need to have a backup. You don't want to be in the situation where, like, Lamar went down, Baltimore's had like just a rotating group of other backup quarterbacks, but when he got hurt and was limited, their season was basically done. The entire thing was waiting for him to be healthy. And Jordan Love, I mean, the Packers very easily could have won the Super Bowl like 2 years ago or whatever. And he was banged up. They couldn't get it done. And the offense just doesn't look good. Like, I don't know if it's LaFleur, because sometimes they get into a groove. I don't know if he's calling the plays or not, but I don't know if you blame him or not. Like, sometimes you might just need to change the scenery. And if he doesn't think that LaFleur is putting him in that situation, I mean, heck, I could see JJ getting a push there and then being awesome, because they're just like a match made in heaven. Because LaFleur seems like he's afraid to take shots unless like Watson's in the game. It's like odd, the play calling. And Watson's always banged up anyway. It's like he needs they just should sign Tyreek Hill. I don't know if Hill would be healthy or not though. Isn't his like entire knee getting reconstructed?
Possibly.
Because I think it was like what was his injury? I'll look it up. It was like an ACL at least, I thought. Dislocated his knee and tore his ACL. So it has to be a long recovery, I would think. Although I thought they said that it depends on how it's torn, and his kind of came clean, so it might not have been that bad. And with the advances in medicine, like before people tore their ACL, it would take them forever and they'd be like horrible after. Now sometimes they are better. Not like better than what they were previously, but I mean like at least better in their return than what they expected.
Yeah.
Is there anything else from the NFL you want to talk about?
Not really. Not as well. We should be getting closer to the draft or the combine.
Yeah, that is coming up. Is it March? We should be getting into a little bit of that beforehand. I was looking to see what the other ones are. Because like, what's the other one? They have to start franchising tagging people now, right? Because like the Seahawks said they weren't going to franchise tag, or at least it leaked out that they aren't going to franchise tag Kenneth Walker, which is a big deal. Super Bowl MVP, and what, they're not going to extend him? Right? Like, because the running backs, people just don't value them. I don't know why. Like, I don't know how you can get it any worse than that. Like, if you're a kid coming up, like recruiting wise, and they're like, you should be a running back, I would say, like, do anything else. Right? I mean, be a linebacker. Because a lot of times in high school, running backs and linebackers played the same position, right?
Yeah.
So linebackers have a lot longer careers. You could be like an Urlacher or like a Ray Lewis. Or you could be a running back that's out of the game in 2 years. Because you get churned up and then they get you out of there. That's some coaching advice. I don't know how anyone would look at this and as a parent and say, like, I want my kid to be the running back. Yeah, he might be cool in like juniors or whatever it's called, like where you live. Like the Pee Wee footballs where he's running all over the place because he's like faster than everybody. But when you get in high school, man, and they start to get recruited, put that athlete tag on them. Don't go running back. That's my advice. It's not good for a career move. Speaking of the high school thing, what IMG Academy is getting hit with some fines because of their alleged donations.
A massive fine. It was like $1.7 million.
But see, they're still making so much money from donations. It's insane. Right?
Right.
And the crazy thing is, like, they're still recruiting up in Pennsylvania because I think their basketball coach is from PA. And so, like, you have them pulling over just all kind of stuff to come down and recruit the entire country, which is just other world, right? So you bring in a bunch of people from all over the world. You're cherry picking like the best high school coaches to come down and be assistants or whatever. And then you're able to recruit kids from those areas to come down to play for a private school that's almost like an intro to college, like one of those science tech college schools.
Yeah.
And then they're able to go to college wherever. Like you see some guys from the north come down, play for a year, and then they recruit back up. And like they're from Michigan, they play a year at IMG, and then it looks like they're getting recruited from Florida. It's like, no, that dude grew up in Michigan. He just come back home to play. And people are surprised, like, how are they picking these guys out of Florida? It's like, no, dude, he's originally from Michigan. He's going back home. His family lives up there. So it's like outrageous to me that they're going to do it. The key thing else coming up is some states are pushing for what do they push it for? NIL for high school athletes. Which I know, dude, going back when I played, I did, like, I started to try to do NIL because they wanted us to pay for our own uniforms at one point, right? So me and the star pitcher of our team, we went out and started to get people to donate and try to fill up our thing. And then we had to go meet with the principal and like try to get through like these donations we were getting. And I'm like, look, you told me to bring the money. And they're like, we wanted you to just bring the money from home. I'm like, yeah, but why is my family paying so that I can play high school baseball? That's outrageous when I could easily get a sponsorship. Just like youth sports, right? They have how many sponsors on the fence? You can't get us new jerseys. It's ridiculous. I did the same thing in college. Like they wanted us to try to do that. And I mean, this is back, probably a violation. That got shut down real fast because they were like, hey, we're doing a fundraiser thing. And I'm like, you should get in touch with like a couple of these people. Like, they'll be donors. And we set up and we had some people come down to like make donations. And they're like, you cannot do this. You got to go through the development advancement office. You cannot just have people come in and directly donate to the baseball team. You're out of line, like ridiculous. And I'm like, this is the same thing that happened to high school. I could have had my own NIL deals, Matt.
So there's a continuous pattern of negligent behavior, skirting the rules. All right, Connor Stallions.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I relate so well. Getting in, not skirting the rules, bro. Taking it to the advantage. To get donations, I can get donations. I could have had NIL. Is what I'm saying is I'm missing out. You could have seen me in car tire changing commercials, right? Come down to our garage. Get an oil change on me. Holding the baseball bat out, bro. I would have had a patch on my jersey. Easily could have had a patch on my jersey. So I think I'm a little bit before my time. I would have loved playing in the NIL era. It's a bummer. I didn't get to. Maybe I'll get reparations. They were saying that they had a Fab Five thing. I don't know if you saw this. It was like something from like the Detroit area. They were doing some type of basketball thing. And they had old coaches come out with the Fab Five because they're trying to get Michigan to bring the banners back. And which they should, obviously. It's ridiculous that they don't. Because now, especially after that FBI thing, where they had all those other schools that were paying athletes, which Michigan wasn't even a part of, and they were like, oh, guess what? We can't really do anything. Now we're just going to let NIL be legal. Because people forget that that's where this all kind of started. They had the FBI wiretaps having all those coaches illegally paying players. And they were like, too many schools involved. Let's just do NIL now. And it's like they should retroactively anyone that got pinched like that, including like the Ohio State tattoo type thing. I think that Fab Five, wipe it clean, baby. What's the difference? You had how many other schools get pinched for actual cash? You did nothing. They should retroactively do it. And I hope maybe the Fab Five would be the group to kind of get that taken care of and get their records, their Final Fours back up. Because to me, well, you can't let 10 years of cheating and even like UNC with the fake classes, you let that a decade from like 2010 to like 2020 go with full paying players caught on wiretaps and everything. And then say, oh, nope, not vacating anything, not going to do anything. But everyone else before that, we're going to keep your stuff vacated. Like,
yeah.
Sorry, dudes. Like, bad timing on your part. And so, we know the Fab Five, they're all on TV. Jalen Rose, well, I guess not all of them. Jalen Rose and Chris Webber on TV all the time with NBA and ESPN. They should be able to go ahead, start speaking out more, and get some of those old players. Like, oh, he took like $500 or whatever. If you're not going to enforce it everywhere, bring it back. Like if IMG can just go and take a ton of donations from like shady characters or whatever, yeah, they should get looked into, right? If my school,
even shady characters, like they're saying that there was connections to like a Mexican drug cartel.
Yeah, if I can't get my high school baseball team sponsored from like a local restaurant, that's ridiculous, bro. Right? So like, but these guys can just get donations from wherever. Like illegal activities, nah, that's a big school. Like they're national. Like we're not going to hurt them. That's exactly like even the fine. That's probably nothing to them. So it just insane to me. But let's see. Any college stuff you want to talk about? I know I talked about that, but
college baseball starting up, so that'll be something interesting to watch.
yeah, the weather, it was freezing cold here. Right. So having that pull some stuff down and just have all those teams come down. Because normally I look and see for softball and baseball if there are tournaments around here. I've noticed that the Big Ten baseball's been going more out west to like Arizona, I want to say, or something, where Michigan's been playing. And softball usually does a lot. They were actually in Virginia instead of coming down to North Carolina, which had to have been colder from here. So I don't know how that would have worked out, right? Because they do that Big Ten, ACC, like softball mix up where the ACC Southern schools host the Northern ACC schools and the Big Ten schools for like those 4-team tournaments, right? Which works out well. It's not really on TV or anything, but it's more of like a mutual, hey, we know the weather stinks right now. Come down for a neutral site tourney. And with how cold it's been, it couldn't even have been. Like I think NC State hosted last year, Michigan and someone else. I think it was last year, maybe the year before. And it was pretty warm out, right? Went to the games. I think I was just wearing like shorts and a sweatshirt. And in the sun, it was hot. This year, it would have been 30 degrees. Never would have made it. Go outside, be like, you know what, girls, I'll watch at home. Oh, sorry. You don't need a fan in the stands this year. Not going to make it. Because that was a complaint with, I've been hearing some people talking about like moving some of the scheduling around. Right? Is there a way now with like NIL and everything for some of the seasons to kind of shift a little bit? I don't know what that would be like. Because now we're in an age where, yeah, the kids are taking classes, but with summer school and online stuff, I've directly heard from people in college athletics that they're talking about possibly shifting some of these seasons around to match up more with professional type things. And baseball would probably be at one of those. I think soccer was another one where they're talking about shifting some things around. Cause like, I think was MLS, did they move? Like there's been a couple moves to try to make everything match like more of the international, and just having high school and college soccer in the fall with football doesn't really align with anything else. So I wonder what that shift would be like. And for the northern schools that have outdoor, I mean, if you're playing in the winter or in the early spring, like it's going to be freezing cold. So I don't know what that shift would end up, but that could be coming. It'd be like kicking a lead ball, dude, right?
Yeah.
You'd be deflating it like Tom Brady. It'd be like going 3 feet. Like, man, it's like kicking a flat ball out there. But yeah, we'll see if that happens. I don't know. A lot of people are still mad about the NIL, and it cracks me up because I see all these media types, especially like the SEC ones, complaining about how they need to fix it immediately. Because, yeah, you lost 3 national championships in a row. Of course they think they need to fix it, right? So they're like, we need to lock these kids in for 3 years. Don't let them transfer and all this other stuff that really wouldn't fix the issue. They want to just go back to, hey, we need to load talent and not let them come because now our talent's being bought from schools all over the country and we can't compete. So sad. I hope whatever I saw, like Stephen A. Smith, I think, was calling for the government to step in. Like, does he even commentate on college sports? Thought he's more of an NBA guy.
Well, they just have him commenting on everything now.
Yeah, trying to get him to be the head of the the network. He was complaining about some of the transfer schools, because I've seen that come up with Michigan's team, which, knock on wood, like I said, I'm not trying to jinx them at all. I thought the team, analytics-wise, has been the best team since the turn of the century. And so this team has a legit chance to win the national championship. They play Duke on Saturday. And a lot of people are mad that it's built. They think it's like all transfers. But they have Michigan's like Mr. Basketball from last year as a freshman playing key minutes. So like you have a couple guys mixed in with transfers, but are they mad that Michigan had a guy that was supposed to be in the NBA come back? Because there are teams like Alabama just playing NBA guys that we talked about. So one can't be worse than the other. At least Michigan kept that UAB guy. I think that's probably what it is. He was at UAB, right? Alabama, Birmingham. They thought they could keep him in the South. He went to Michigan instead. Now he's awesome. He's on video talking trash on Purdue, and Purdue gets all mad, and then he still beats them. So it's funny. And I think that's a lot of people just don't like that, right? So, yeah, the other coaches, it seems like they have that NFL coaching like camaraderie where, oh, these coaches have been friends for 20 years. Of course they like each other. And like Tom Izzo and a bunch of these other guys. And Dusty May is younger, I guess. I don't even know how young he is, right? Comes up, not part of the group, so they don't like him. And it just stinks, right? I mean, I don't know how one person can hear Duke's head coach. Did you see that when UNC stormed the courts? He said that UNC fans punched their coach. They reviewed the tape. No, they didn't. So, like, how can you cheer for a coach that just lies? Does he not realize that they have just videotape of the court? Bro, you're on TV. They're going to review it. It's kind of like the stuff where that guy flipped the birds to Castellanos, right? Like, yeah, it's going to be on TV. If Castellanos would have punched that guy, right? Then what? He's like defending himself. So, like, yeah, they reviewed the tape. They didn't see it happen. He was at his press conference complaining about it. Okay. I'd rather have our coach not do that kind of stuff. I'm glad he doesn't. If the coaching circuit just doesn't care and they want to be fake phonies, like, go for it. I think there's going to be a change at the guard. I think it's a lot of these old broadcaster guys. And once they start to cycle out, I think you'll see a whole new change in sports. At least college anyway. And I think it's well needed. Like, were they going to have Nick Saban complaining about NIL for the rest of his days on game day?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, remember back in my day? Like, Lee Corso never talked about coaching. Right? They called him coach.
Yeah.
But they very rarely, from what I remember of the show, brought up his coaching or like any highlights from like any of his wins or whatever. They could have really brought that up and made it look like he was a great coach because he coached in like the 70s or whatever, 80s. People didn't remember. But if you watch the show now, they're constantly bringing up like Nick Saban, his records, and like comparing them against like other teams that are playing. And when you start to get more and more removed from that, it's going to be a weird dynamic, I think. Because they don't really do it with Urban unless it's like on Fox, unless of course it's like the Michigan game or like a rivalry thing. Like, it's not like he's covering a Purdue game and they're talking about how, well, I guess Purdue beat him that one time. What's the team that like he didn't lose to, Indiana or something? Like, it's not like they're covering Cignetti and the entire show was like how Urban won a national championship and Indiana has never won one, right? Leading up. Like, that would be so awkward. But that's kind of what ESPN does with their stuff. So I can't watch it. Maybe it's not for me. Maybe I'm the old guy. Need my antenna. I need my streaming. I don't need cable. I'm like in between. I don't want the cable that they're like purely advertising for. With the, hey, we don't have any commercials, so you have to watch this black screen with some generic music, whatever it is, like over and over. every minute, like the end of the basketball game, dude, was brutal because you know how many stoppages they have? Way too many. And the clear solution is get rid of the extra timeouts. I've never seen one or talked to one fan or seen anyone in the game say like, you know what? We really needed to win that game. One more timeout. No, you don't need timeouts at all. You already have 100 built-in timeouts. That would get rid of a lot of the stoppages at the end. No timeouts. You have to play it. If they foul, whatever. Or like they could just go to some type of running clock. I don't know. I think the fouling is part of the game at this point. It would be a drastic change if they got rid of it to kind of speed it up now that we're getting close to March Madness. But I'll try to put together some thoughts on that when March Madness arrives. Typically, what was Michigan up? 10? Like there was at one point where they hit a 3 to bring it to 8, and then Michigan immediately broke the press and slammed it down or hit a layup or something. And then it seemed like Purdue was like, all right, one more time they missed. Michigan got the rebound, and then they let the clock run out knowing that like in 20 seconds we had our chances, right? It's more of like a gentleman's agreement. But some coaches will just keep fouling. They're like down 10 and there's 1 second left and they're fouling. It's like ridiculous. So maybe more of a coaching thing. That's all I have for this week. Anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, that's about it.
All right. I have some other off-season stuff I'll fill people in on, depending on how much sports stuff pops up. But if there's anything you want us to talk about specifically on the show, let us know. And if you like the shorter format, also send some feedback. We'll make some adjustments as we go. But thanks for listening, and we will see you next week.